What's up, guys? This is Justin Coffin for the 330 Sports Show. We're doing something a little bit different. It's now October. We're getting into Halloween season. We're going to call it spooky season here. We're going to do a little Halloween draft. So joining me is Doug Eisenbraun in the top left corner, and then Matt and Laura are actually together. They're going to be drafting together from Matt. You guys at your house?
Yep.
Okay, so they are going to be joining us. We already pre-selected the draft order, so it is going to go Laura first, Matt second, I'm going to go third, and Doug is going to go fourth, and then it'll snake back on the way back. So I'll set everybody up so we're on the same page. But the only preface I want to say for this draft is it's kind of anything goes. So I set it up. The title is literally Halloween Draft. That could mean, a Halloween movie that could be funny. That could be the most frightening movie you've ever seen. It could be literally be anything. It can be from any decade. There's no real parameters on this. It's just whatever your interpretation of Halloween movie draft is, and you could take it any way you want. So you guys all good with that?
Yep.
Ready to roll.
All right. So let's go. So Laura, we're going to start off with you. You got the first pick. And again, you guys can explain your pick, or you can just pick and move on, or if you guys want to comment on it. So Laura, you got the first pick.
All right. My first pick is Devil's Rejects by Rob Zombie.
Oh, okay. See, I knew we were bringing in some experts here. When you can start with a Rob Zombie pick.
Now, that is the second movie in what is now a trilogy. The first one was House of a Thousand Corpses, then Devil's Rejects, and then The Three from Hell.
Okay.
By far, Devil's Rejects was the best of the three. I just actually watched Three from Hell not too long ago. I would suggest skipping it.
Okay.
Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, skip it. But Devil's Rejects, by far, I watched people leave the movie theater when Rory and I were watching it together. And people got behind me, this older man got disgusted and walked out. And I was like, it was great. It was the best movie ever.
It's a pretty brutal movie.
It is.
I love it. It's fantastic.
It's brutal.
Would you, okay, so I would describe myself as kind of like an eclectic Halloween. Like, I don't really have like a favorite. I don't really have, if I had to pick a favorite, I'm probably more of like the thriller side more than like gore and stuff. How would you, Laura, describe your like Halloween movie, like your favorite types?
See, I'm eclectic too. I like all types. When you guys see my list, it is a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But I do love the blood and guts.
Okay.
But what scares me the most is the more supernatural, possession type movies. Those scare me the most.
Okay.
But I love to watch the gore.
Okay. All right. Now, Matt, since it's your pick, let me ask you that same question. What is your general like vibe with like scary, horror, whatever in that genre?
I like them. I like a real dark movie. I want it to be. I like a lot of gore. I like a lot of violence in my horror movie. I mean, the 80s slasher really hit it right.
Yep.
I think they really set a nice tone, but there's some great stuff in the 70s. Actually, that's my first pick.
Okay. Well, go ahead. You can lead right into that. So
I will go with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974.
Okay.
Not as gory as you'd think when you rewatch it. They cut most of the actual stuff out, the actual chainsawing. It's more implied. I mean, when they jam that lady on the hook, that's pretty rough. But just the entire atmosphere for that movie, it's just the way they shot it in that kind of gritty film, and it looks almost like a snuff film. And they don't have a reason. It's not like one of these modern horror movies where, well, this happened because we did this on an Indian burial ground, or this is some revenge. No, it's just a crazy family living in the woods, killing and eating people. That's it. Like, there is no.
And basically, didn't they just like kill people to like decorate their house with like their bones and stuff?
And skin and hair and teeth.
But that's similar to the actual real life serial killer Ed Gein's.
Correct.
Yeah. Sure. So it's kind of based on that, but
loosely.
Okay.
I mean, he made a belt, I think, or a lampshade.
Probably all of it.
Yeah,
probably a
all
whole
of it.
set.
Interesting.
Pull it.
Okay. All right. All right. So I am up with my first pick. I'm going to go a little different route with this. This is more of a newer film within the last decade, I'd say. But I'm going to go with It Follows. If you have not seen that movie, to me, it's one of the smarter horror movies, the smarter story. I just really, really like that movie a lot. Interesting premise. You basically have to sleep with someone to get from not being killed. So it almost has kind of like a Final Destination type feel to it, where you got to pass along, from being killed. So without giving away too many spoilers, I highly, highly recommend it. It's well written. It's a well acted movie, I think, for the most part. But It Follows. I think it came out around like 11 or 12 in that general area. But
Is that old?
Is it that old?
I thought it was newer.
It might be.
It's number 15 on my list. I love that movie.
Okay. So in the last decade, it's within the last 10 years. So 10, I'll look it up afterwards and let everybody know. But 11 to 12, 13, 14 in that general range. So, all right, Doug, we are already to you with our last pick of the first round. So you have 2 picks back to back coming up. But before you pick, tell us kind of like your thinking on horror movies and Halloween movies in general.
Yeah, so my favorite type are the ones that are just the most realistic, like that could actually happen.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite ones to watch. But same thing on my list. I've got stuff all over the place. I had Devil's Rejects. I had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but just really my list is all over the place. But that's my favorite. It's just the most realistic type you could find.
Okay. All right. Very good. So why don't you start off with your first pick here and tell us about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna take Halloween first.
Okay. Now, when you say Halloween, are you saying the franchise or a specific movie?
So I'm gonna go the original 1978 Halloween movie.
Okay.
That's my favorite. I mean, we're doing a Halloween movie draft. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Leading up to Halloween, that's my favorite one.
The name says it alone.
Right. Yeah. And then I'm gonna say a little bit more after I make my second pick because I got a connection here.
Okay.
My second pick is going to be Psycho from 1960.
Okay.
And then the connection that I have with that is the actress, the lady who plays, the main character in Psycho, is the mom of Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween.
Interesting.
And then also, her boyfriend in the movie is named Sam Loomis, who is the doctor from the Halloween franchise also.
Ah, okay. Okay. Nice connection there.
So those are 2 of my favorites, just complete classics.
Absolutely. I think like Psycho, a lot of people know the story already, but if you had someone watch that movie and had no idea what it was about, obviously the title kind of gives it away, but they would be really surprised, I think, by the end.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those movies you want to get someone to watch that has no idea of the whole premise. So
right. And Laura mentioned Ed Gein too, and he's the background to that same story too.
Okay. All right, very good. And by the way, Bates Motel, kind of a little like not as good, but that was a kind of a cool show on I think it was on A&E or something that just ended recently. All right, so we are into the second round now. I am going to make my second pick here, number 6 overall. I'm going to go with probably the most recent film on my list. I'm going to go with Get Out. So a lot of people might argue that, I don't know. I think it's a horror movie for sure, based on the whole premise. It's maybe a little bit of a take on like the way things are in the world too. But I think I always get mixed up with who directed that movie. Was it? It was from the guy from Key and Peele.
Peele.
Yes, yeah. Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele, and he's got a brilliant mind. He really does. And this is probably one of the most unique horror movies, and maybe one of the best casted horror movies, I think, out of, at least on my list. So I'm going to go with Get Out with my second pick and 6 overall. So Matt,
you did great tension in that movie too. It's a really nice tension build.
Absolutely. But yeah,
I went into that movie blind. I went into that movie blind and was so blown away with the twists and how it ended up being.
Oh yeah.
I like to go into horror films blind, any movie blind.
Sure. Sure.
But it was so well done. The camera angles, well done.
No doubt. Yeah. It a great twist, like you said too. A great twist in that movie. So all right, Matt, we're back to you with your second pick and 7th overall.
I'm gonna go with original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
At the time, the concept was complete. I mean, it was so original and unique. They'd never seen anything like that. Like someone killing people in the dreams. If you look into it too, the way they did some of the effects, they didn't have CGI, so they had to do it all. Like that scene where his face is coming out of the wall, when Nancy's sleeping, they had a sheet with a light and he's pushing his face on it. Or when he's going up the stairs and he's melting and she's melting into the ground, they had pancake batter and a hole in the stairs and they sprinkled carpet shavings. I mean, it's just
okay.
The way they made it look so well. Coupled with the acting was great. It's Johnny Depp's first movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time we really got to see Robert Englund do his thing, and just fantastic.
I have to agree with you that practical effects, I feel, are better in horror films than anything that's the more digital. I find practical effects, especially in horror, are so much better. They come off on screen so much better than any digital blood or digital guts. When they do those practical effects and some sugar and blood or sugar water or however they do it, it's
pig's
amazing.
Blood,
yeah, pig's blood.
Corn syrup
Works for me.
Well, and then you got the guy. I mean, they can't go to sleep, so you have this other layer where they're trying to stay awake and they're eating coffee with spoons and stuff, and it's just fun to watch, and it just adds to the frustration, and it's just I love it. Absolutely love that movie.
I think that's how I got to college.
Halloween is scary, but not as scary as no heat in the winter. Call Mighty Mike today, not tomorrow, for fall maintenance service. 330-207-7070. Or visit MightyMikeHVAC.com.
Yeah, I think, Matt, you and I have talked about this earlier in the week. I think, we could talk about maybe another movie in that series a little bit later.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, to this day, I think it was the scariest movie I had ever seen at the time. And it still, to this day, creeps me out. So we'll talk maybe about
And it's also before they made Freddy Krueger goofy, like starting 4 or 5 Freddy's dead. Then it was just sort of, one-liner jokes,
yes.
Don't go to pieces, and he rips them up or something stupid. He was just dark, nasty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Angry little dead child killer.
Yeah, right. And the whole backstory is right. Like, he was kind of like abusing these children or something like that.
Murdering them.
Yeah, and then
killing them in the boiler room,
and then
shoving their bones in the furnace.
But then the parents came and killed him, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then
he came back.
He came and manifested
Kill their
himself.
children.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To deal with the devil, and that's all explained in the later ones.
Okay. Interesting.
Meh.
All right,
It's
Laura.
better when you don't know sometimes.
It is better.
My
Laura,
second pick.
You have actually got back-to-back picks now coming up.
Okay, so I got 2 really different ones. My first one is a very a classic, The Shining.
Nice.
That one, Stanley Kubrick did an amazing job. I feel like when you start looking into the background of him filming and driving Shelley Duvall to actual nervous breakdown in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you watch her in that scene with the baseball bat going up the steps, swinging at her husband, she was literally being mentally tormented by Stanley Kubrick in the background, to the point where she was really having a nervous breakdown in that scene.
Oh, wow.
Didn't they shoot that, make them shoot 100 times
Yes.
or something just to drive her nuts?
Just to drive her nuts.
Over and over.
Just to literally drive her to give an actual nervous breakdown on camera,
Interesting.
which is horrible, absolutely horrible
Right.
to hear, but it showed.
And good cinema.
It made good cinema. So I truly, and I love that book. That book I can listen to. I listen to it on audio all the time. It is a classic for me. I love the idea of not just a haunted house, but the way it's driving everyone to this brink of insanity. I love it.
Very good.
So
I want to throw one comment on The Shining. The hotel where that movie where it takes place is the same hotel on Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, really?
after they get all the money. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges on the toilet is one of the funniest things ever.
or a frightening scene, depending on if that toilet's actually broken in real life.
You're in that room, man.
Right. Interesting facts. That's why I like doing this, because I would have had no idea about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very good. I like The Shining. Probably one of the most classic horror movies out there. So, all right, very good. Laura, you got one more.
All right. I know I'm stealing one from Gabby, so he's going to be mad at me, but Event Horizon.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I know, right?
So good. So underrated.
Right. I don't know if you guys saw Event Horizon.
I've seen it.
It is I love it. It is a cult classic. You sit there in this quiet space setting. No one can help you. You're trapped in a haunted spaceship.
That went to hell.
And came back. And I remember the first time I saw when they found the missing crews or the dead crews sound log, and they kept doing the flashes of what was happening. I remember just sitting there going, and just my face, I was petrified. I pulled my hoodie up. It was a good one.
Have you seen the extended cuts of that?
Yes.
They didn't show.
Yes. Oh,
they should have kept it in. There's a way more like in hell scenes with the crew just losing it.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, and it gets a lot more detailed.
It's an interesting take because a lot of people think of Sam Neill from Jurassic Park, and then he's in that, and he's the total opposite in that movie. So that's a good one. I did not have that on my board, but that is a scary ass movie.
It is.
Number 17 over here.
Very nice. I like it. That's outside the box thinking too. So very good. So Matt, we are to you with your third pick and 10th overall.
All right, I'm going to jump around here because I got a lot of real classics at the top, but I'm going to throw something out there. This is a newer one. It's called Creep. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
No.
I have not seen it.
It's been on Netflix forever, and it's
my list to watch.
it's a tension builder. It's this guy somehow he puts out like an ad. He wants someone to come and film him, and this guy shows up. So it's all POV, handheld filmed by someone documenting this man's whatever he's got going on. And as it progresses, you start to realize this guy he's filming is just totally off the wall, and something bad's going to happen. And then there's a breakdown in communication, and then he's worried he's coming after him. And I'm not gonna, since you guys haven't seen, I'm not gonna give it away. But the end scene, I mean, you feel very comfortable, and then you don't. That's all I'm gonna say. The tension that's built with this movie. And Doug, you like this a lot too, because it's certainly right up your alley. If you haven't seen it, there's nothing supernatural at all. It's all, a crazy person could absolutely go about doing something like this. There's a sequel, Creep 2. It's pretty good. It's nowhere near as good as the first one, but strongly recommend anyone who hasn't seen Creep, check it out.
No, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's been on Netflix forever. I think it just lives there.
Okay.
That's good. That's another reason I want to do this is because, like Laura said, she's adding that to her two watch lists. So I think, we're going to put this out early enough in October where people can, maybe check out a different movie here and there during the month. So very good. All right. So we are through 10 picks. I am up with my third pick here. I'm going to go with this is third overall on my list, but I'm going to go with Drag Me to Hell. And it is, to me, that is another one. I think it's kind of under the radar. Not a lot of people know it. It's that like goofy kid from Dodgeball that's in the movie, and he's one of the main stars. And he's kind of like a nerd, and He's actually kind of a nerd in this movie too, but it is just like I was literally biting my nails during this movie. I was so creeped out. And it's one of those ones where you know something's going to happen because the music builds to like a crescendo and all that stuff. And it just like your heart gets going. And there's a lot of things you don't see coming. So, just
Sam Raimi's the best, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't be, Sam Raimi. Is that my saying right? Raimi.
Yeah, I think you're right. Very good. So, so that's mine. And, that's one I think a lot of people haven't seen. And so I highly recommend, if you have not seen that movie, go see it. It's, I guarantee it's on one of the streaming services. So check that one out. Drag Me to Hell, number 11 overall. So Doug, we are back to you. You got picks 12 and 13.
Okay. So my first one here, I'm going to take Creature from the Black Lagoon from 1954.
Oh, okay. Going old school.
Yeah, I just watched that movie this morning with my kids.
Okay.
That's one that I had watched. I mean, I don't remember a time in my life that I wasn't watching really any of the movies that I have on my list. My dad would show me probably before I could walk and talk.
Yeah. Doug, let me jump in real quick because Doug's dad is my uncle. He's actually my godfather. And I remember probably him and your mom watching me as like a 9 or 10-year-old kid. And we would watch horror movies on like a random Friday night as I was like a 9 or 10-year-old. But great memories. Great memories. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah. My nephew Michael loves The Creature. It's just a great movie.
Okay. And what year did you say that was from?
That one's 1954.
Wow. Okay. All right. Very good. All right, Doug, you got the next one coming up too.
All right. I'm gonna keep it old school on my next pick too. Another one of those real old ones, 1941, The Wolfman.
Oh wow. All right.
Wow.
Great movie.
Same thing. That's another one of my favorites. One of those ones that I was watching when I was, probably couldn't even talk yet.
Okay.
And just a great movie.
And if I've been keeping track of the years of your picks, especially, so you got right now 1941, 1954, 1960, and 1978. So you're hitting all the decades. Like Doug is very thematic with his picks. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So I am going to go with my next pick here. I might be stealing this from Gabby. I actually heard about this movie from you probably a decade or so ago, but A Cabin in the Woods. A Cabin in the Woods.
Perfect movie.
Good one.
It is.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
It starts out like the first half hour, 40 minutes. It's like almost unintentionally not. It's like bad horror, and then it becomes good horror, and then there's a big twist that you don't see, which I'm not going to say if people haven't seen, but it is very gory.
That's funny.
But and that's another thing. It's like maybe. Do you think it's intentionally funny?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So yeah.
Yeah, the dude from Scrubs, whatever his name is, he's just hilarious in that.
And the dad from Step Brothers.
Yeah, Thor's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
that was number 23 on my list, actually.
Okay. All right. Very good. So I'm taking A Cabin in the Woods, number 14 overall. So Matt, we're back to you.
Well, in your vein of your last pick with Sam Raimi, I'm going to go with his first movie ever, which really set the tone for a lot of things, with Original Evil Dead.
Okay.
One of the greatest horror films ever made on a shoestring budget with a bunch of MSU film students or something like that. They just drove up to the woods and made this great, scary Cabin in the Woods type movie that, unleashed a franchise. Evil Dead 1 and 2 are regarded as some of the greatest ever made. Army of Darkness. You got it wasn't really a reboot, but the newer one, there was one in 2013 that was also spectacular as a remake. And then you got a TV series on Showtime starring Bourbon High School alumni Dana DiLorenzo as the lead female. I mean, it was just,
Really?
She is.
Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Ash versus Evil Dead. But the original was it's so well done. I mean, you got them out in the woods. It's, you got monsters coming out of the basement. You got, which one was Ted Raimi, the mother? And was that 1 or 2? I can't remember. 1 and 2 tend to blend together, and they're both, 2 started to get more, it was more of a horror comedy, which was also great. But just once again, there's a lot of tension in that. You have a tree violating someone.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was just about to mention that scene freaked me out.
Yeah, you can't watch that scene, watch a tree violate someone and not get freaked out by it.
That scene, I just remember watching that going, what did I just witness? That bothered me.
I mean, I know I'm hosting this show, but I have to admit, you guys, I've only seen a handful of scenes. I've never seen the whole movie, so I definitely need to check that one out.
You need to watch it at least once.
Okay.
I got them all, man.
Check it off your list.
Yeah, Gabby, we'll get together this month and check that one out. So
I'm down with that.
If you're up for rewatching it, probably for the 100th time.
I'll make the
I'll watch this anytime, man.
All right, very good. All right,
Evil
Laura,
Dead one.
Here's what we're gonna do. Laura, I'm gonna have you make you have 2 picks coming up. I'm gonna have you make one, and then we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll come back with the second half of our draft. So go ahead and make your 4th pick, which is the 16th overall.
Okay, so this one's one I remember just even seeing just the previews and was freaked out by the previews on TV going, but I went and saw it anyways. Candyman.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The original one. I know they made a remake. I haven't watched it yet.
I think it's just
last week.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. So it's on my list. I'll probably watch the remake here coming up soon. But I haven't seen it in years, but I can still probably walk you through every scene. It made such an impact on my childhood, actually. The bee scene where it's coming out of his mouth and he goes to make out with the girl.
It holds up very well.
It holds up really
it's
well.
Still really well
does.
done.
Yeah, and the acting, the casting was perfect. I think the guy they hired or got to play Candyman,
Tony Todd.
Thank you, was amazing in that role. Everything about that movie was great to me.
That's gonna be the hard thing with the remake is not having Tony Todd as Candyman. Like
he was Candyman.
Right, like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. It's not Robert Englund. It's Rorschach from watching it. And no, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's just not the same. It's not the same.
Tony Todd has that voice. He's got that presence. The new guy might be great. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to remakes. I do like a good one, but
a good one.
It's a big shoes to fill with Tony Todd there.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Very good. And does that take place in New Orleans?
No.
Chicago.
Okay. All right. I for some reason I was thinking New Orleans, but
the sequel might have the Day of the Dead one. The sequels were ridiculous. 1, 2, and 3 were garbage.
Okay.
They weren't even like good bad horror. It was just bad horror.
Sure.
That's how I feel about.
Okay. All right. Let me real quick review our first 16 picks here. So we got. I'm just going to go through each of our picks. So Laura has Devil's Rejects, The Shining, Event Horizon, and Candyman. Matt has taken Texas Chainsaw, the original, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, Creep, and Evil Dead. I have taken It Follows, Get Out, Drag Me to Hell, and A Cabin in the Woods. Doug has taken Halloween, Psycho, the original Psycho, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and The Wolfman. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with the second half, picks 17 through 32. We'll be right back.
Halloween is scary, but not as scary as no heat in the winter. Call Mighty Mike today, not tomorrow, for fall maintenance service. 330-207-7070. Or visit MightyMikeHVAC.com.
Hey guys, while we're about halfway through our draft, I thought I would go over our top 5, or in this case, top 10 list from Tuesday's show. And these are things to not do in a horror movie. Don't use a Ouija board under any circumstances. Don't say, I'll be right back, or who's there. Seriously, just don't do it. Don't be an ass in a movie or in real life. That's just good advice. In a movie, don't have sex, don't drink, or don't do drugs. Those are all 80s and 90s horror tropes that will probably end up getting you killed. Don't allow a spirit to possess a doll. Need I remind you of Annabelle or Child's Play? Don't investigate that strange noise yourself. I'd really suggest you not do that. Don't be the black friend or split up on your own. You're usually going to end up being the first victim. Actually, the University of San Diego State did a survey or a study on this and found out that often happens a lot more to African Americans in movies than it does white people. Don't run upstairs. Just not a great idea. You're not giving yourself as many outs. And don't assume the killer is dead ever. I mean, they have these like superpowers almost, and it's crazy. And don't ever trust the clown. I mean, come on. I mean, does anybody truly like clowns, especially if one's in a freaking sewer? And the poltergeist clown and what else? It's just the clown. Nobody likes clowns. Anyway, these are horror movie rules from the 330 Sports Show. Make sure to follow us on social media and make sure to follow Youngstown Studio as well. So if we missed any, leave them in the comments, drop them below, and we're going to get back to the second half of our draft right now.
All right, we're back for the second half of our drafts. Same people. It's going to actually be the same order since we're halfway through. So Laura, you're going to start our second half of the draft with your 5th pick and 17th overall.
I'm actually going to skip my 4th pick or my 5th pick and move on to my next pick because I really want to see this one on the list. Suspiria.
Ooh.
1977, Dario Argento. Italiano. It was this psychedelic 70s bright colors. Every scene, the walls are pink and yellow and bright colors, but absolutely petrifying. And it made it so you're looking at all these bright colors and thinking, oh, what could happen? Scared the crap out of me. It's based on this. And now there is a sequel or a remake. There is a remake.
There's a trilogy though. Suspiria's part of third. It's third in a trilogy, right?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Pretty sure.
We might
I'll
have
look it up.
We're gonna do a Google search.
You keep going.
Okay, that's fine.
But it was so well done. You never feel safe in this movie. There's a lot of that scritchy music that keeps you on the edge of your seat. A lot of gore. Yeah. Apparently, I am a big fan. It is a trilogy, really. The Three Mothers. Yeah, that would make sense.
I think it's the third one.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I believe it's the last one in the Argento.
Yeah, you are correct, sir.
Okay.
That's why I keep you around. But yeah, and they did do a remake, I think, in 2018.
Okay. That
actually was very good. I was very shocked because normally I'm not a big fan of remakes. The remake that came out in 17 or 18. Very well done. In fact, I would almost consider it a little bit better because what's her name? Twyla Swanson or Twyla Swanson.
I don't remember.
You didn't see it? Okay.
I've seen Spirit. I just don't remember her name.
Yeah, she plays in a bunch of things. I'll Google it later.
That's fine.
But it was really well done.
Okay. All right. So
and
Suspiria. It's called
Suspiria.
Suspiria. Okay.
Suspiria.
All right. I'll add that to my
good foreign
checkout list. All right, very good. All right, Matt, you got your 5th pick and 18th overall coming up.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. It's hard to beat The Exorcist for this one. That is just. I mean, you can't watch that movie alone and not get a little freaked out when you see the little kid, turn into a demon pretty much and spit pea soup at a priest.
Linda Blair.
Yeah. I mean, she grew up relatively normal, but man, is that messed up. Like, the whole the crucifix scene, what she does to herself, that's a whole different. Then you hear about what they told her as a childhood actor. I don't want to get too graphic on the show, but
yeah, right.
It's an interesting story if you ever look it up. The extra footage they added in the spider walk down the stairs is really cool. And I know there was certain elements kind of like in The Shining where they were actually hurting people. Like the lead actress, I'm blanking right now, but there was like a rope tied around her and they pulled her one time when she's supposed to be thrown across the room and she starts screaming. It's because she was really hurt. Like the director told him, like, pull hard, like I want you to hurt her, and yanked her into the wall, and she's actually crying because they beat her up.
And I think Linda Blair had some issues when they were having her shoot up and down on the bed.
Sure.
That messed her up, I think, too.
I mean, just the tension in the movie is awesome. I keep going back to tension. Obviously, that's something I really like. But Yeah, there isn't. The effects are great. I mean, they had a room that they dropped the temperature and spun around and did all kinds of weird stuff in it. I mean, just everything about that movie. The book's terrifying too. It's based on a William Friedkin book, I believe. Sequels, what do you got to do? But the original, top notch.
Yeah, well, obviously they have a little bit better actors and actresses union in Hollywood now, where they'll have stunt people do all that stuff for them now. But
there's not beating up actors for effect anymore.
You know, like you had mentioned in The Shining and stuff, where she's legitimately like mentally messed up because they're just, you know, over and over and over traumatizing her. And sounds like same thing in this movie too. But you get good results, unfortunately, from some of the stuff you got to do. So, all right. So The Exorcist, yeah. And again, Doug, I think that goes back to your point too of that's, you know, you hear that could be real life stuff, you know, whatever you believe or don't believe, but that shit's freaky. So
my father will not watch that movie because he says it's against our religion. I guess when it first came out, the Pope came out and said, nope, no Catholics should watch that movie. It's against our religion.
Yikes,
I'm in trouble. He won't watch it. I know. My younger sister, because she is so, to this day, I just talked to her on my way here, believes that this could happen. She will not watch that movie.
Yeah, I mean, if
never
you
watch
watch that,
never watch it.
You know, it literally just creeps you the F out just because, you know, you just don't, I don't know, whatever you believe, whatever you don't believe, it's just creepy.
And there's been, you know, hundreds of exorcism movies ever since, and none of them come close to number. I mean, that's just, you know, it was done perfect the first time. You know, they're what's the one with the sister from Dexter?
Oh, the exorcism of
Emily Rose.
Emily Rose.
That's probably about as close as you're going to get to another good one, but even then, it's not as good. I mean, you know, the little kid is like the terrifying presence is really a big part of it. It's kind of like in Child's Play. It's just this little thing you're not supposed to be scared of, and all of a sudden,
we
got a big problem.
That's a big movie trope.
That movie, that Emily Rose one, her acting and her ability to physically contort her body the way she did.
And the courtroom,
that was amazing.
The courtroom angle in that movie was cool too, with the priest on trial.
Yeah,
it was a good movie. It's no Exorcist.
No,
nothing else is.
No doubt.
But that's a good honorable mention. If we have a list, The Exorcism of Emily Rose
should be an honorable.
That's a good honorable mention.
Okay. All right. Good deal.
Halloween is scary, but not as scary as no heat in the winter. Call Mighty Mike today, not tomorrow, for fall maintenance service. 330-207-7070. Or visit MightyMikeHVAC.com.
All right. I'm going to come back with, I have this as my 5th overall. I don't dive deep into horror movies probably as much as the three of you, but this is a mainstream horror movie, but I think it led to a whole series of other movies, at least 4 or 5 other movies being made, but The Conjuring. So I'm going with The Conjuring, and, you know, based on, I forget the doctors' names offhand, but the Warrens. The Warrens, yes. So based on real life people, whether, you know, it's exaggerated or what, but, you know, obviously the Annabelle, you know, which could get drafted later, but, you know, that it just led into a whole series of different movies with the Warrens.
I've never been a big Conjuring guy. I felt they relied too much on jump scares, and
yes,
I like a good jump scare, but I just felt like that's all that was going on. Like, I don't know. I got to give them another chance, I think. I mean, everyone keeps telling me.
When she was looking down that basement with the match and it clapped out, nope.
Yeah, that part
I jumped right out of my seat.
Just a jump scare.
There's the armoire scene in the bedroom that's freaky. And again, she gets kind of like possessed in the movie as well. So, you know, that goes along with the whole possession theme too. But I think... How
are the sequels? Because I wasn't really too turned on by number 1. I never got into the rest of them.
There's a couple, because, well, if you include the Annabelle franchise amongst that, there's probably at least 5, I would think.
And there's the one, the La Ladorna.
So you got 6.
Like
you got 3 Conjuring, 2 Annabelle, and Ladorna.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know about it. I haven't seen them yet.
But obviously, obviously
Some are
people
good,
are
some are
paying to
bad.
go see it, and so it's doing well.
I'll give it another whirl.
Okay. All right, Doug.
I trust your opinion.
We are Doug, we're back to you with your 5th and 6th pick. So however you want to take this, number 20 and 21 overall.
All right, so 5th pick, I'm gonna go with the 90s on this one. I'm gonna actually have my daughter. She just walked over. I'm gonna have her make this pick for me.
Oh boy! All right, Emerson coming in.
Emerson coming in here.
I am.
So,
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Love it.
Good call.
Good
Good
pick.
pick, Emerson.
That's one that, when we were younger, it was actually appropriate
Yeah,
to watch
right.
compared to some of the other ones I'm saying here. But and that's one that I've been watching with her now for the past few years. And she just asked me today about watching Hocus Pocus coming
I
up to
still watch it
Halloween.
every
So
year.
Absolutely.
it's a good one. That's more
Well-
Halloween movie than horror movie, but it's a good one though.
Yeah, no, and that obviously even has Salem witch trials history in it and all that stuff. And like you said, it's an appropriate movie for really anyone. And if you've never seen it, you can watch it literally every day in October on whatever that Freeform channel. So no, that's good. That's good. Thank you, Emerson, for making that pick. All right, Doug. So you got your 90s in. Where are you going next?
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the 80s next. And I'm gonna go with another one. This is, same thing. One that I was watching, came out before I was born. But one that my sister and I
Lucky.
we used to request. We used to request to watch it all the time. 1985 Fright Night.
Oh,
Good
okay.
call.
Good one.
Good call.
Good one.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it now, but that's a great one too. I love that one. That
Let
movie.
me throw out my Fright Night factoid here.
Okay.
One of the main actresses in that movie is Marcy Darcy from Married with Children.
That is her.
Yeah.
Whoa, I never.
And it's a little creepy because she's like a 16 or 17-year-old girl in the movie, and the one vampire is he's a vampire. He's not worried about age, but he's trying to sleep with her and do all this other stuff too. So yeah, that's a good one though. I have Fright Night on my honorable mentions list.
Okay.
That's a good one. All right, so Doug, you got the 70s, the 60s, 50s, 40s, 90s, and 80s all covered. So
Yeah.
I think you're going new on your
Yeah.
next 2 picks. All right,
Yeah.
It is back to me. This is my 6th pick overall and 22nd overall. I am gonna go with, oh man, so many ways to go with this. I'm gonna go a little bit further down on my list, but I love this movie. I think it's a very underrated movie. It's a 6 Degrees of Separation Kevin Bacon movie. It is A Stir of Echoes.
Oh yeah, it's a great
Oh,
movie.
Good
Love
movie.
Stir of Echoes.
So I'm
It's
going
like the better
to,
Sixth Sense.
yes.
I need to put that on my rewatch.
Love that
list.
movie.
So I'm going with The Stir of Echoes. It is psychologically creepy. It's jump scare creepy, but it's an
Great
actual
story.
Exactly. It's an
Great
actual
fight.
good movie. So a
Catherine
lot of
Herb's in it. She's fantastic.
a lot of big names in this movie too. So well acted, well directed, well played. So I'm going with The Stir of Echoes, number 22.
I think that came out right around the same time as The Sixth Sense, and because there's similar elements, I remember it kind of being overshadowed, and
Yep.
everyone wanted to talk about that. But this was like, it felt like the grown-up version. It's like, all right, this is the nastier,
Exactly.
not as kid-friendly,
Right.
not with the what a twist at the end,
Mhm.
Sean Wan.
And
Oh,
I
all
think
those
to
other
this
He
day,
made 2 good movies. That's it.
Part-
But
part of me would like to get
Unbreakable.
part of me would like to get hypnotized, but this movie has made me completely frightened of being hypnotized. So
he's floating in the chair and all that stuff. I
exactly,
wanna do that.
so scary.
I need to
All right.
watch that again.
Yeah.
That's on
Great
my list.
movie.
Highly recommend. A Stir of Echoes, 22 overall. Matt, you are up with your 6th pick overall.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with Shaun of the Dead.
Okay.
Good one.
Not as good as you're gonna get for horror comedy.
Okay. I
I don't
like
think
it.
anyone's done it better than Simon Pegg. I mean, it's scary, it's hilarious, it's British, so that's always cool to watch.
Mhm.
As far as just a straight great zombie flick, outside of the original, which it's on everyone's list. So let's make this a little more interesting. Not that.
Yeah.
Have you ever met someone who didn't like Shaun of the Dead though?
Yeah, it's one of those movies I kind of vaguely remember from college, but I think every time I watched it, I was probably a little bit drunk, so I don't fully remember it. but I remember it being more a comedy from what I remember, not necessarily scary, but it fits into that.
You sound like
Halloween
this
category.
group of guys I mentioned this to the other day, and they're like, "That's a comedy. It's not horror." And I was like, you can do both. It's classified as horror comedy.
No doubt.
Too.
No
But
doubt.
there are some, like when he has to kill his mom. I mean, come on, there's nothing funny going on there, and coming at him. It's got its moments.
Definitely not.
And there's absolute tension when they're in the Winchester and they're surrounded and you can't get the over-under shotgun to work. It's, it's quite frightening. But,
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right. Very good. Laura's going to finish out the 6th round and start the 7th round. So Laura, you got picks 24 and 25.
All right. This is one I watched as a teenager. I feel like it still holds up. I have watched it several times since then. And it does have another actor we were talking about earlier, Justin Long, that you were mentioning in Drag Me to Hell.
Mm-hmm.
Jeepers Creepers.
I thought you were going to say Tusk. Yeah.
No, Jeepers Creepers.
That's a great movie.
That was such a good movie to watch in the theater.
Did you see Tusk?
I did not.
Kevin
Is that on my list?
It's not on my list, but it's still cool.
No, I mean, do I need to add
it to
a list?
Yes, you should. It's a Justin Long, but it's a Kevin Smith. I think it's Kevin Smith.
It is Kevin Smith.
Yeah, Tusk on the list. Anyway, sorry. Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers. I mean,
Laura, what was the deal with him? He only came out like X amount of years.
Once every 27 years.
Until the sequel.
Until the sequel.
I'll come back next week.
We're not talking about the sequels. The sequels are not on this list.
I don't want to break the rules.
So he came out like once every 27 years or something like that.
Okay.
And he'd have to eat certain body parts off of certain people that had a certain smell to them or had a whatever they were. Like, he liked your eyes, so he was coming at you and he would just eat your eyes. Or, your liver looks good.
Because he liked your peepers.
He definitely would not want my liver, but he was going after someone's liver.
It's like eating a soccer ball.
Right? That's a dried up raisin. What? I don't want it. But it was really, and you never really saw him until the very end. You just saw him in the shadows, or you just saw the truck that was chasing them. And it just built up this tension because you thought he was chasing the one sibling. It was a great twist. Mm-hmm. I loved it. And in fact, my younger sister and I, when I was telling her about the list, she was like, that has to be on the list. So it's on the list. And I agreed. I do still enjoy watching that movie.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Not the sequels.
And that movie was, again, like kind of right in our high school wheelhouse, like that late 90s, ish, early 2000s. I can't remember exactly when it came out, but right in that wheelhouse.
I had a giant crush on Justin Long.
I thought you were going to say the Creeper.
No. Yeah, the Creeper too. That's more my style now. But I did.
Maybe Justin Long is a creeper. Who knows? Oh, man. Love it.
Yeah,
all right, Laura. So you got one more. So which way are you going to go on this one?
All right. I'm actually going to go to the 80s. And I'm going to talk about Jacob's Ladder.
Oh,
okay.
Good stuff.
Jacob's Ladder. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
I know the premise. I don't know the movie.
So a Vietnam vet, Tim Robbins, comes back from Vietnam, has definitely PTSD type issues. He starts hallucinating things, or he may be hallucinating things. You're not sure. And the things he sees, like the scene on the dance floor where she ends up with that tail. There are certain scenes.
I mean, to laugh. I'm just the description is great.
Yeah. Well, so he's on the
It looked like
dance
Super
floor.
Mario 3, just a raccoon tail. It was real cute.
Yeah, real cute, except for a picture with the demon tail. He's dancing with this girl on the dance floor, and all of a sudden he feels something like hitting his leg type deal, and he looks down, and she has this demon tail coming out of her. I lost my mind watching it. Oh, hi, Coco. Gabby's dog needs out. But it was a really good good cinematography, great storyline, great ending. The ending, it wasn't a huge surprise, but it definitely put me on the edge of my seat as it was happening.
Okay. You're giving me some movies to check into. So Jacob's Ladder and Suspiria, I'm looking into for sure. All right, so that brings it back. I know Matt's got Coco, so
the dog's here now too.
Oh, that's fine. That makes this a little less frightening. So
there, we'll get her in there.
Absolutely. So we got she want to make your next pick here? Coco want to make the next pick? 26 overall.
Well, if she could talk, Coco is going to choose. Yeah. Do I have one more round after this or not? This is my final.
You got one more round. You got you have two more picks.
Okay. Two more picks. Well, I'm going to go with Saw 1.
Okay. That's good.
It keeps you guessing. You know what's going on. These people are in these situations, but the whole the bouncing around with the time is interesting. The concept of trying to get out of these horrific situations by a horrific escape it makes you think, like, could I do that? Like, could I cut something out of my body to live? Or the sequels really just took it all over the place. That should have been one and done, and it would have been perfect like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that final scene, I mean, come on. That's
one of the best twists in any movie.
Denouements ever. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, you'd never see it coming. And then it's just mind-blowing. I mean, it's brutal, it's graphic, but it's not, I don't feel like it was gratuitous. Like, I never liked that Hostel movie because I just thought it was just gore for the sake of gore. There was no, this like made sense. Like, it had to be gory, so you felt the actual stress of the decisions that these guys were making. And could I do that? And, oh man, some of those, like that, the reverse bear trap. I mean, come on, that's just it's one of the freakiest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So,
like you said,
great soundtrack too. Really awesome soundtrack. And you got Carrie Yules, so you got the Princess Bride dude. So that's kind of awesome too.
Yeah, right. No, that's a good point though. Like, some movies where they just are using blood and gore for no reason, but if it adds to the plot, that really, makes it a better quality movie. Agreed. All right. I have the next pick coming up, 27. I'm looking on my list here. I'm going to go, oh man, so many that I am going to leave off. I'm going to go with the Blair Witch Project because here's why. Because I think if you don't have the Blair Witch Project, you don't get Paranormal Activity down the road. It's kind of like that found footage, scary. At the time Blair Witch came out, it was kind of like right when the internet was coming out. And so you couldn't do a whole lot of research. A lot of people that went to see this movie thought it was real life, legit found footage that they turned into a movie. Obviously it wasn't. But when you went, if you thought that was real, you were creeped the F out. And, not to mention, it's just like, you don't know what's going on. You can't, I think Laura had mentioned it, kind of like even in the Jeepers Creepers thing. I think it's like that unknown that you can't see, that you don't understand what is there. Like,
you never see it. The entire movie, they never reveal
exactly. Exactly.
See a guy in a corner. That's about it.
Exactly.
I have a fun story about the Blair Witch.
Yeah, go for it. Hey, go ahead right now. If you
Jenny
can.
Jen and I, my younger sister and I went and saw it in the theater. We were absolutely petrified. And we were in high school, 17, 18, when it came out. We watched it. And if you remember, the Blair Witch was supposed to be hairy. Remember, she was supposed to be covered in fur.
I
was
don't
one of the
remember
lures.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she was. So part of the lure was she was supposed to be really furry.
Okay.
I had just gotten my dog, and I guess
Oh,
in
you're
the
gonna say
middle
you
of the
hadn't
night,
shaved your legs.
yeah, middle of the night. That's now. Middle of the night, I guess my dog came and brushed up against my younger sister in bed. She wakes up screaming, "She's got me! She's got me!" And for the next 2 weeks, we actually shared a bed because we were so afraid.
Oh my God.
we wouldn't sleep for 2 weeks. Now, I'd like to pretend that, I was very young, but I was about 18.
All right. That's okay. Hey, if it's creepy, it's creepy. I don't care how old you are.
It was just creepy enough that her and I went, this is normal.
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
people throwing up in the theater
Really?
because of like the camera. Like,
Oh, the shaky
the
camera.
whole found footage. That was like that really wasn't a thing before that.
Mhm.
It really
Very much.
wasn't. That is what
And
introduced.
I remember like
footage.
one guy like threw up in the theater, and they were like, what's going on? It's not gross, but just like the whole moving around, just he couldn't handle it.
And that dude throws away the map too. Why are you throwing away the map? You're in the woods. So
Yeah.
Why?
yeah.
Well, he didn't have a phone with GPS yet, so
Exactly,
he was really
yeah.
out of options.
Neither
really
here
couldn't get
nor
rid of
there.
that.
All right. We're going to
Good
go
pick.
on to Doug. Doug is actually going to finish his draft here. He's got 2 picks, number 28 and 29.
Okay, so I gotta go newer here. Well, compared to my other picks, and the Strangers.
Oh, man.
Solid.
That I mean, for ones at least that have come out since I've been an adult, that's probably my favorite. That really fits the realistic aspect that I like about a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to take that one with my 7th pick.
Yeah, and like you said, I think that legitimately could be the scariest one on this list in a way, because that shit could really happen. And that is absolutely frightening. It's basically a home invasion, and they're stalking you. So
with masks.
Yeah,
Like
with
weirdo-
masks, with
weirdo
creepy
masks.
masks.
Yeah.
All right, Doug, and that's what's his name's daughter in that movie, right? Aerosmith's daughter.
Yeah.
Liv
Liv Tyler. Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Taylor Tyler.
Oh,
So that
Lord
one-
of the Rings.
That one was 2008, by the way.
2008. Okay.
Yeah. So
It was really that long ago.
yeah, 2008.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Now to get my final decade, I'm torn between the 30s and the 2010s for my last movie. I'll go 2010 just because I have so many that are older. I'm gonna go with The Purge.
Okay.
Because that's another one. I mean, kind of similar to Strangers.
Great concept.
That can happen. You never know. You never know.
It almost happened in January, didn't it?
Right. Yes.
Not to
they
get
tried.
too political, but
Right.
it almost happened in January.
Yeah.
They didn't bring their masks.
So yeah, that's another one of those that's, since I've been an adult, that's come out. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that is good. And so Doug,
That's a TV series. I've never seen the show.
There's a TV series?
I think it's on like USA or something.
really
Huh.
Yeah, there's like a Purge show.
Really?
interesting.
How
Okay.
would you make that count?
Just really drag out like 24. They made a day a show. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Doug, you literally have 8 different decades represented. That's
Right.
pretty impressive. 80
So
years of movie.
yeah, I passed up a lot of movies that I really like, but I
Okay.
wanted to try to go for one for each decade just to
Well,
spread it out here.
Once we finish these last 3 picks, we won't like go too in depth with them, but you guys can fire off some honorable mentions or maybe like movies we didn't talk about too much. So, all right, I'm going to finish my draft here, and I feel like I just have to take this movie because of the age I was, I think, when I saw it, and there was multiple sequels, but one of the lead main villains absolutely scared the hell out of me as a kid. But I'm gonna go with Poltergeist because that, I don't even know what that dude's name was, but that old guy was the creepiest person thing of all time. And little, I'm sure a lot of people know, but Poltergeist, a lot of those actors and actresses in that movie ended up having like a lot of bad things happen to them in real life, like a lot of deaths because of that.
The little girl died.
Yeah. She had some sort of issue where
she had a heart effect.
I think it was like a digestive issue where she couldn't even go to the bathroom. So it was like she just died. It was really sad. So I mean, whatever it might be, either way, like I think at least 3 people from that movie have died or had, lots
there's all kinds of like cursed stories about that whole production. Great movie.
Didn't the oldest sister get murdered by her ex-boyfriend or stalker type deal?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're
How
right.
about that clown toy?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I've never liked clowns.
Yeah. Well, I was actually thinking about taking, and if somebody takes it or somebody takes it later, sorry, but I was thinking about taking it, but actually the clown is kind of represent the first one. The first one. The second one's too Hollywood. So but the first one, the remake.
The Tim Curry one?
No, well,
the
movie. The first movie remake of the Tim Curry
it's definitely
one.
Better than the second one, but yeah.
No doubt.
Part 1's better than part 2.
Yes.
Agreed.
Bill Skarsgård did an amazing job.
Great Pennywise.
Great.
Tim Curry was a great Pennywise.
Oh yeah,
for different reasons.
So well, based on your guys' elaboration, it's almost like I got a free pick there, so that's kind of nice. Well, Matt, you got you're gonna finish out your draft. This is pick 31 overall.
Well, if we're gonna be talking about great movies from growing up and stuff, I'm gonna pick the quintessential movie from when we were in high school, which was the late 90s. The quintessential horror movie, which was a great tribute and jab at all of the older horror movies from the 80s and 70s. Another Wes Craven. We're gonna go with Scream.
Nice.
Because
I knew that was going to be on your list.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just take it off of mine.
I mean, you kill off your biggest name star right at the beginning.
No one expected.
No one thinks Drew Barrymore is going to die in the first 5 minutes. And I'm going to give a ton of spoilers. So if you haven't seen Scream by now, then
shame on you.
Too bad. So you do that. You got Courtney Cox, who's like rocking with the 90s with Friends. So she's got 90s fame.
Right.
Just rocking her up to the top there. Your final girl is Neve Campbell. She's basically she was on that show, but she was
on
Party of Five.
Party of Five. Thank you.
So she was on that already, right?
That was my show. Yeah.
Okay, so she actually was established by that. Yeah, you got Rose McGowan, you got David Arquette, which spawned the whole Arquette, Courtney Cox, whatever that was about.
Yeah.
Who else was in that movie? Jamie Kennedy was in it.
You're missing the most important person, Matthew Lillard.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Scooby Doo. Or Shaggy.
So mad at me.
You know who's in the sequels too? Is really great actor is Liev Schreiber.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, the plot was great. The reveal at the end is fantastic. It's back to that cool 80s slasher horror, but they hit every one of the rules that was established, and they still have to play by it.
Yeah,
and they
Jamie Kennedy, I think, broke it down in the movie.
And then he does it in the sequel, and then for the trilogy. I mean, it's just so well done, and very nice tongue-in-cheek analysis of everything they'd done before. Yeah, and it was done by Wes Craven, who did that. I mean, he even took a jab.
Those rules.
Yeah, they have like the janitor in the hallway has the orange or the red and green striped sweater, and they call him Fred. Henry Winkler's in it too. Yeah, the Fonz. He's the principal.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look for that. I never noticed that.
You got a great cast. You got interesting kills. Kills with the dog door and the garage door going up. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, that was a good one. Oh, who was
I want a garage door that's strong. It was never break.
What's her name?
That was Rose McGowan.
Yeah, Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a classic too, and that's one of those good ones that's like, horror comedy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. All right, Laura, you are up. You started the draft. You're gonna finish it here. So you got the last pick here.
All right. I'm going to skip a few things because I noticed none of us really mentioned a lot of foreign films.
Sure.
So I'm going to bring back another one, The Audition. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a Japanese movie, came out early 2000s?
Yeah.
Something like that. This guy's single. His friends decide to set up, and he's rich, he's single, he can't find anyone. So they set up this fake audition for him to cast women for a role, not really knowing that they're actually being set up for a date. So he picks one, and she ends up being batshit crazy to the point where she does things to him that they're so meticulous, and she does it quietly without saying a word. There's a scene where she takes a piano cord and wraps it around his ankle, right? And then slowly starts cutting off his foot so she can't get away. So he can't crawl away from her. And she does it in this silent, just calm fashion that I have never felt more like, oh, that's why you don't date crazy moment. And it was very well done. The whole movie was very well done, but I just remember that scene specifically going, oh, don't date her. That's why you don't date crazy off the internet.
Yeah, that's an interesting, that was a Japanese movie from the early 2000s. And right around then was when we were starting to make remakes of all these Japanese movies here, but it was all supernatural. We were getting The Ring. We got, what's that one? The Grudge.
That was a good one.
What's that one with like the dead people coming out of like the washing machine or whatever? And they have to put red tape up over.
Pulse.
Pulse.
That's actually on my list.
Yeah.
Because I love Pulse.
The Japanese one was so freaky.
Oh, but honestly,
the American one was okay,
really
but
too.
Yeah, the Japanese one was just.
Yeah, that's
that's Japanese horror. That's just a whole other level of.
It was my number 10.
Okay. Hey,
but this is neat because it's like, yeah, everything Japan does isn't supernatural and like really.
Yeah,
off the wall,
this was just
and creepy.
A crazy lady that you shouldn't have dated.
Okay.
And she proceeds to just do horrifying things.
Interesting.
And then you actually at the very end,
it was like Misery taken to the next level.
Yeah, it was Misery here.
I mean, that scene with the hammer and the log, though, that's one of the harshest scenes ever.
That should have been on my list.
That was the first rated R movie I ever saw. Was Misery.
Really? Mine was
with Jared Ingram. Because Dad rented it and he left. We just put it in and watched it.
Love it.
We were like 8.
Hey,
probably not a good idea.
Let's do this because we just got about 2 minutes left. So no discussions on it, nothing like that. Any movies on your list that we missed? Doug, let's start with you. If you just rapid fire, name them off.
Okay, I'm gonna Friday the 13th. Silence of the Lambs, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Zombieland.
Okay. Matt, let's go to you.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Night of the Living Dead, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, Alien, Jaws, A Quiet Place, Paranormal Activity 1, Diary of the Dead, Friday the 13th Part 4, Child's Play, and Hush.
Okay. Laura?
The Fly, Amityville Horror, Goodnight Mommy, The Lost Boys, Heredity, Let the Right One In, Last Door on the Left, and 28 Days Later.
Original or remake of Last Door on the Left?
Both.
Okay.
Fair enough. Another Wes Craven, I believe.
I have.
Or Tohu?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
I don't know if this one's been mentioned. Insidious. Good one.
Good one.
Dead Silence. One with the puppets and stuff. Creepy.
The dead people are so freak looking in that movie. Love it.
The Omen. The original more so than the remake. 1408. Another good one. Pet Cemetery.
Which one?
The one with the judge from My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah. The original.
I like the new one.
I didn't watch the new one.
So good.
Pumpkinhead, and I got a few more in there. Carrie. And Vivarium. Weird movie, not a classic horror, but weird. So this was fun, guys. I appreciate you. This is gonna hopefully give a lot of people some ideas for Halloween. So this was good. We'll definitely do another genre of this again.
Halloween is scary, but not as scary as no heat in the winter. Call Mighty Mike today, not tomorrow, for fall maintenance service. 330-207-7070. Or visit MightyMikeHVAC.com.